Good day, everyone. My name is Brandon Berger. I'm here with my colleagues Christian Bisoon and Dashan Popo, and here we are to present an ergonomic assessment on two classrooms in the University of Trinidad and Tobago Pointers campus. Now, this ergonomic study has come about because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as you know, for the last 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the growth, the maintenance of companies, businesses, schools, and social places, all to assist in limiting the spread of the disease. Now, 2 years later, we return to a sense of normalcy and back to original operations, only to find that some of these abandoned spaces did not hold up as well as we did or as well as we thought. These classrooms at the university has been no exception. As such, we were asked to carry out an ergonomic assessment for two classrooms and provide suggestions for getting these working standard, get these to working standard once more. So some of the methodologies that we have used were site visits, research methods, data acquisitions, and some key points that we used in this study to get this research were the seating layout, the lighting, the personal space, the access to egress, where we did comparisons through online researches to get ideas from different universities, some improvements from different universities, as well as presentations for this said study. Now, I would like to hand you over to Darshan, who would continue us into the findings of these two classrooms that we did our site visit on. Dash?
Thank you, Brandon. So upon our assessment of classroom 3, we found that there was very inadequate lighting. Some of the bulbs themselves were blown, some were missing, lampshades were missing, and some were very dirty. So there was inefficient lighting over desk and for both teachers and students alike. There were also leaky ceilings, suspectedly due to the leaking of AC ductings that ran over the ceiling itself. The ceilings were drywall ceilings and therefore soaked this water and collapsed into the classroom. The projector system was also very outdated. Also, there were some missing controls as well as outlets as HDMI outlets and so on for the system itself for presentations by the class. Both the whiteboard and projector screen was damaged and defaced. It was not showing brightly enough, and the projector screen itself was not retracting back into its real. The chairs were not ergonomically suited for long durations of sitting, especially by students, because the students themselves were designated to that classroom for the entire day. The arrangement of the tables themselves and chairs together, the layout of the classroom, however, was not suitable for visibility and access and egress without distractions from students or teachers leaving or entering the room. The wall paints were also filthy and faded and created a distracting environment that was not suitable or comfortable for learning. And so in classroom 4, we have most of these were similar, apart from there being two windows at the back of the classroom that incorporated blinds that were flip blinds that never kept out as much sunlight as it should be. The amount of sunlight coming into the windows was obscuring the visibility of the whiteboard by producing glare, and also some students who may be visually impaired may not be able to see it. The whiteboard itself was also not centralized the front wall of the classroom, and students at certain corners or edges of the classroom were unable to see clearly. Therefore, this would decrease the efficiency of learning, the efficiency of taking notes and being able to get material across the room itself, learning material. So multiple similarities amongst the classrooms in terms of their deficiencies are its insufficient lighting, leaky ceilings, faded paint, poor layout, and lack of proper lumbar support for seating. Some key differences being that the classrooms themselves, classroom 4 being smaller than classroom 3, classroom 4 holding 36, holding a 36 of, holding a maximum of 36 students, and classroom 3 a maximum of 50. They had some layout differences with the chairs and tables, and classroom 4 incorporated the use of blinds to block out sunlight from the windows. And now I'll hand you over to Brandon to take you through the SWOT analysis.
Thanks, Dash. So as you can see, based on the SWOT analysis, the strength and the opportunities outweigh the weakness and the threats by a substantial amount, right? So as you can see from the strengths, all the findings can be achieved easily and fixed easily. Can be done in a short space of time without actually demolishing the building, and similar fixes in both classrooms where you're looking at a shorter transition time for both set classrooms. So some of the weaknesses that we may encounter, but can be fixed as well, will be the lack of manpower, the incompetency, the language barrier, and as you all know, everybody looking for cheap labor, but may not be under the same language, right? Some of the opportunities that would definitely be considered would be listed as a cleaner space, a better and more comfortable seating, enhanced productivity, and some of the threats that might be out of our control would be like the central AC unit, where we cannot adjust the temperatures in the set classroom, either being too cold or too warm, as well as the importation of new furniture, which entails that if we cannot source some of the furniture locally, we may have to go internationally and import it. Therefore, with all the COVID restrictions that we still see worldwide, we might encounter some delays with that. However, as I've said before, the strengths and the opportunities kind of outweigh the weakness and the threat, where we can go forward with a project like this. So with this little slide quote that I found, if everyone is moving together, moving forward together, then success can take care of itself, right? So as we try to move forward with these recommendations, I hope that we can achieve the productivity that we so desire. So with that being said, the recommendations, I'll hand you over to Christian to talk us through this. Chris?
Thank you very much, Brandon. And I am here to speak to you all with respect to the recommendations for both the classrooms that we did in the ergonomic assessment. So first of all, speak about classroom 3. As my colleague Darshan would have highlighted before, there were a lot of similar problems in both classrooms. So in terms of the lighting, we recommended changing the bulbs to LED bulbs and changing or cleaning the screens to make it more clearer and to let light pass through better. We recommended changing out the ceiling tiles in the leaky ceilings to a more water resistant ceiling tile throughout, and we also recommended the changing out of the chairs to a chair that is more ergonomically friendly to sit in for extended periods of time. In terms of some of the key differences for Classroom 3 did not have any windows, and what is now the front of the classroom in our recommendation, we recommended taking the whiteboard from the front and putting it to the back and turning all the chairs and tables around. Therefore, essentially making the front of the classroom the back of the classroom and the back of the classroom the front. What that allowed us to do is provide better viewing for the students throughout the entire classroom to the whiteboard, and also eliminated distractions when students are accessing and egressing the classroom during a class session. We also recommended changing out some of the tables to a smaller size table so that there's more walking space within the classroom, but the classroom could also house up to the 50 max students that it has to. As well as similarly to in both classrooms, we recommended repainting the dirty walls. And here's just a costing of how much the average should cost to get these things done in classroom 3 to get it up to the ergonomical standards that we recommend. Moving on to classroom 4, you would see some of the similar points in terms of light and repainting and the ceiling tiles and so forth. But for classroom 4, there was a window located at the back of the class causing glare on the whiteboard, so we recommended changing out the blind to a more effective blind in blocking out the natural sunlight, as well as a blind that is easier to clean. We also recommended placing the whiteboard, which was not placed strategically to allow proper viewing for the entire class. We wanted the whiteboard placed on a mount that would allow it to be moved in different directions and face different angles to one, eliminate the glare and allow students to view better on the whiteboard throughout the classroom. We also recommended changing the overall layout of the classroom to a semicircular design, which gets most of the students viewing a more central point in the class and getting a better view of the whiteboard. We also recommended changing out some of the desks and the chairs being changed to better ergonomic lumbar support, but the desks being changed to suit the use of laptops and so forth in the classroom is better for students. And here we have another costing of what it might cost on average to, em to employ these ergonomic assessment recommendations. Moving forward, here we have a bar chart showing some studies that we went through, some similar studies, and comparing it to what we see and what we have observed in our classrooms at UTT. And you'll see that over time, productivity dips in a less ergonomically friendly classroom, and it is considerably lower than an ergonomically friendly classroom. And you can see over time, a ergonomically friendly classroom maintains a higher productivity rate and throughout time, and it is more consistent. Some key takeaways from our overall assessment is the environment would be better and cleaner and more conducive to learning. The lighting in both classrooms would overall be better. More proper, more comfortable seating, allowing for students to be able to focus more comfortably and sit for longer periods of time and remain focused on what is being taught. Overall increase in attentiveness so that what is being taught could be taken in better by the students, and this will lead to overall productivity. And this will bring us to the end of our presentation. I do hope that you all enjoyed.